Catus Maximus here, this time with a review of the GearWrench 2-piece extra long handle 1/4 inch and 3/8 ratchet set. This would be the 9-inch 1/4 inch and the 18-inch 3/8. Yes, I did buy one of these 1/4 inch ratchets, and out of all the places, when you look online, it really seems like $68 or $69 is like the going price for these. And I did have one, well, I had a flex head, but I also had these power torques, but I wanted to give the GearWrench a shot. I think it's easily as good as one of the power torques. And the new power torque that you can just get at O'Reilly's Auto Parts are 120 tooth, but they're true 120 tooth, ultimate fine teeth. I was going to mention on the GearWrench, at least on these bigger packages, they actually have a nice graphic here which shows their split pawls, and actually they're just straight up. It's a 60-tooth gear using split pawls, and they actually show you how they're just a little bit offset. Anyway, why on earth would I buy two? Well, I mean, the 1/4 inch ratchets are actually pretty cool. And let's get this packaging open here. It's actually not too bad. There we go. I like this foam pad. Actually, I think that's a pretty good idea. I probably shouldn't have paused that video because some people will have some questions, but I actually did not touch these. I just opened what was obviously a sealed package. And if you look, there's all sorts of fingerprints and stuff on these ratchets. There are a few reviews on Amazon, people saying that even apparently factory sealed packages, GearWrench will refurbish a ratchet and then just repackage it, and that actually looks like what's happened here, because it is a magnificent amount of fingerprints. Anyway, I did cut out the receipt. I found these at Napa. They were on sale for 60 bucks. I remember Napa's had these on the shelf for a while, and I remember I asked about them and I got some outrageous Napa price, and then I was in there and I asked them about it again, and I had forgotten about these since they'd been on the shelf for a while. Went back in and inquired, and they were just this amazing $60 price. So I think that's actually really pretty cool. On sale for $60, which is probably like one of the cheapest prices you can possibly get them for. So I went in with a friend. He chipped in 25 bucks to get this 1/4 inch ratchet, and I chipped in 35 so I could get this long handle. Yeah, I mean, this ratchet definitely seems like it's certainly been handled. I don't know if these really have been used or if they are factory refurbished, or if this is just the packaging. These do say that they're Taiwanese. I just find that odd. I haven't even run into that before, really, where we have a tool. I mean, it's just obvious. There's all sorts of just junk all over this ratchet. I wish I wanted to pause that video. It seems to work just fine. But, you know, I can sympathize with some of the reviews on Amazon that it may not even be Amazon sellers themselves, that it's GearWrench repackaging refurbished tools that are deemed good enough, and they're not actually just giving them a wipe down. 1/4 inch seems just fine. Let me finish talking about this foam tray. I actually kind of like the foam tray. They got a little divot here with just a sticker in it. They probably could have made that a cavity so that you could have stored more stuff into it. But the foam, I like for a variety of reasons over the plastic. The plastic can get old. If you drop stuff on it, it can crack and get broken. Obviously, none of that happens with the foam. Although the foam is obviously harder to clean if you put greasy tools in it. But it prevents any type of rattling. If you have a tool truck or something, a service truck, then the foam may actually be a pretty good idea, because it totally, prevents things from bashing around. I like the way that foam can be modified, so you could cut out your own pocket in there, maybe cut out these sections if you just don't want all this bulk. And then additionally, the foam itself just seems like a pretty decent closed cell. Maybe it's a polyurethane foam. It doesn't seem too bad. As far as it has like a little bit of a memory effect, but not too much. The foam itself can be useful. There's a variety of situations and projects, etc. You may just need some type of medium density, reasonable quality foam, and then you can sacrifice the tray that these come with. So I do like that a lot. I just think it's weird that they're putting refurbished tools in the packaging. Let's see about this Anvil play, which GearWrench is known for. I would say that's a normal GearWrench Anvil play. So This is the one that I actually had reviewed earlier. It came in just an individual shelf hanger pack, and it was obviously, I mean, it had been untouched, and we can already tell. This is the one that I've had and just used moderately, and this other one just looks like it just has just a little bit of more wear on it. The other thing I'm noticing is that they're both the same part number, but they don't, there's just a little bit more inconsistency, it seems, with the machining in the head there versus this one. You can see how that's really symmetrical. They're also a different series. You can see that's an R series, and this appears to be some kind of special symbol right there. So they are indeed different series of ratchets, the one that I bought individually versus the one that was in this set. Some other things look a little bit different too. You can see that the bevel isn't quite as deep on this one as it is on the one I bought individually. Anyway, I think that's all just a little bit odd, especially when you get these brand new from Napa. How is the Anvil play on this one? It's a little bit looser, but I guess it's okay. I should show that on my, whatever this is, I series or T with a accent, the Anvil is definitely tighter on this one than it is on these. Anyway, besides from being thrown off on that, I just like the idea of having, if these long handle, especially these high tooth count ones, people can have issues. Generally speaking, gear wrenches have actually been pretty consistent for people. But you can still have issues with them locking up, etc. So it's always kind of handy to be able to finish the job. Really looking at it, what GearWrench has done with these, and I mentioned that in the 1/4 inch review, is that handles are actually, they are a bit thin, but they are comfortable, and it does make a little bit of a lighter tool. What GearWrench has done is apparently what they've done is a lot of testing to figure out that the handle and the strength of the materials is balanced with the actual strength of the anvil that's attached to. So when you're getting putting quite a bit of torque, you do feel just a little bit of handle flex, but I believe they're essentially engineered. I mean, you have to test them to braking, but essentially I think that the anvil shears off, probably just a few foot-pounds before the handle itself actually takes a permanent bend in them. But you really need to test that. The 3/8 is obviously a bit thicker, and I was fiddling with it a little bit, and you definitely can feel the flex. You can see that one thing I kind of like about the Power Torque is this is the 2nd generation. The 1st generation of Power Torques also had a little bit thinner handles. They had some issues, and O'Reilly's got a new series of these, which are I call the snap ring series. Anyway, we can see that the handle on this one's quite a bit thicker than the GearWrench. It's actually quite rigid, although the head, surprisingly enough, even though the GearWrench really looks like it has a very low profile head, and indeed does, the actual overall height from the back of the ratchet to the top of the anvil is the same as this Power Torque, just because the anvil is just a little bit shorter. It's still plenty long. GearWrench anvils are actually kind of extra long so that they can clear the space. They have the same recess here, but you can see they just make it a little bit tighter, and so it ends up fitting in the very same spaces that a slightly thinner head gear wrench is. And that was always one of the kind of the advantages of gear wrenches, is that they've had just a little bit thinner heads. So anyway, kind of wanted to just do a quick review, and was surprised to discover that these had been heavily handled and then put back into an obviously factory sealed package. So shame on you, GearWrench. If you're gonna, refurbishing tools and putting them back out is absolutely fine, but clean them so that somebody doesn't open a new package and say, what on earth is going on here? Why do I have a ratchet that has a bunch of fingerprints and stuff on it when it came out of a sealed package? What's going on with that? Oops, before I forget, I should do one thing. I already checked on the one I bought individually. It had a pretty straight handle. Out of this set, the 1/4 inch, it looks pretty good, but you can see at this angle here how the handle is just cantered over a little bit, but that's not too bad. The 3/8 actually is just a little bit worse. If I can somehow get just the right perspective on it here, it's kind of difficult when it's an 18-inch one. It's a little cantered to the left and down, but it's not too bad. When you're making long pieces of tool steel like this, forged and hardened, it's very difficult to get it just absolutely totally straight. So it's more than acceptable, but it's not, micrometer perfect. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.